First of all, welcome to this session, everyone. I am Simran Joharle, and I will be sharing my experience with the application process and getting started with astronomy and astrophysics. So, I did my undergraduate studies at the Ferguson College in Pune, and I did my majors in physics. And talking about my research experience, so my first ever astrophysics project was uh, working on or writing a code to calculate the ephemeris of a solar system object. So basically, to predict the position of where a solar system object, asteroid, or anything would be in the sky. So that was the very first time I participated in a project in astronomy and astrophysics. And after this, I worked with STAR Labs, the Space Technology and Astrophysics Research Lab at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, under Dr. Varun Bhalerao. Here, I worked with the Growth India Telescope. Um, it is India's first fully robotic telescope in the Indian Astronomical Observatory, and I worked with the characterization of the telescope and the characterization of the site based on uh, parameters like extinction and seeing and 0 point variation of the images observed by the telescope. And after this, I was very lucky enough to be working with the telescope when a blazar called the BLSRT flared up. So I got to work with that data and share that data with Raman Research Institute and work with them and know more about AGNs. After that, I am currently working on the data reduction by image subtraction of all these supernovae that have been observed by the Growth India telescope, and I've reduced up to 33 supernovae for the telescope. And this is in collaboration with the Indian Institute of Astrophysics at Bangalore. I'll hopefully be ending this work, and since I'm already in Heidelberg, at the University of Heidelberg, where I am pursuing my master's, MSc in physics, and I will be specializing in astronomy and astrophysics here. And I will also be starting an internship at the Max Planck Institute of Astronomy, and I will be working on, how to put it? We'll be working on verifying if there is a spiral arm behind the galactic bulge. Because that part is not visible because of the high extinction, because of the galactic center. So yes, we'll be working on that. I'm excited to get started with my master's here.
Hello everyone, my name is Bhavesh Rajpoot. I am also pursuing my master's at Universität Heidelberg in physics with specialization in astronomy and astrophysics. I've done my bachelor's in physics from Ferguson College, Pune. Even though I was inspired to pursue astronomy from my childhood, I got the actual exposure to the field during my bachelor's due to the courtesy of my seniors at Astro Club and through Radio Astronomy Winter School at NCRT IFA. As a matter of fact, I got inspired by my seniors to pursue this field in Germany, realizing it's a whole cradle of physics and astronomy out here. My current research interests revolve around observational astronomy and astronomical instrumentation. Over the last 2 years, I have also developed an interest in the computational analysis of astronomical data sets as well. I started my journey in this specific area through a summer research internship by Kritika Astronomy Club at IIT Bombay, where I worked on the theory and analysis of the binary star systems. Building upon that, I pursued a research assistantship at Villanova University under Dr. Kyle Conroy, working on the Bayesian analysis of eclipsing binaries. There I used the Phoebe package to fit the forward models to the spectrophotometric data taken by Kepler test VLT and solve the inverse problem through the MCMC algorithm to extract the physical parameters of the star systems such as their mass, size, etc., which is kind of impossible to determine for a single star. Then after a year of working on this project, I joined the Varamera Astronomical Observatory in Dongla, Ujjain, as an observatory technician and observer. I helped the team in the revival of the observatory after the pandemic and made the observatory remotely accessible for observers outside Dongla. Now in Heidelberg, I'm focusing on maximizing my skills and experience in my research interests through various courses and projects. I hope everything goes well here.
Okay, that's great. I'll just quickly introduce myself. Hi, I'm Naman. I'm an engineer, so I may be relevant to most of you who are engineers and just want to enter astronomy as well, uh, leaving MBA. Uh, so I graduated with a bachelor's degree in engineering, mechanical engineering last year, and after that I basically applied for PhD opportunities in the US for fall 22. My experience has not been very official in a way. I have mostly done projects. Those were directly through my contacts, through cold emailing, through LinkedIn, and so on. So I think I decided that I wanted to do astronomy in my third year, at the start of my third year, and then I worked with Geo Douglas. He was an independent researcher, and we got that paper published. We got that research published in next year, the following year, when lockdown hit us. Uh, then after that, I mostly worked on star formation, mostly studies regarding star formation. My immediate next project was with Dr. Gorin Sandel. We basically used the Sophia Observatory, forecast camera on the Sophia Observatory, to observe three different clusters, nearby small clusters, and we observed the protostars, the stars those are forming in those regions to study their characteristics and so on. It was published later that year, and then I worked with Dr. Baswati Mukherjee on RE regarding the extremely green objects called the EGOs. These are uh, blobs. These are blobs which are basically look in Spitzer images, and these are mostly far away, like more than 1 kiloparsecs away. And you just my task there was to figure out what these are. Uh, those are mostly clusters of massive stars. Uh, After that, I have been working actively on SMA-based project, the sub-millimeter array. So I have 4 nights of data from the SMA, and I have been working on reduced data and analyzing the data. This project particularly is funded by the Royal Astronomical Society, and I'm working with two scientists on this thing. So this was mostly my experience. Hardly official internships, hardly any official projects, but still done. And now I'll be joining University of Arizona this year, a PhD student, and I'll be working on one of the first data sets that will come from JWST of the protoplanetary disks, and I'll mostly be studying winds that are around protoplanetary disks. So yeah, that's about me. Uh, so let's quickly jump to what we are here to discuss today. That is, what are your career options, depending on what you have done already, what your graduation is in, and how long your graduation was. So there are multiple cases that we are going to discuss. I think so. Just to mention, some of the cases would be if you have done a bachelor's, that is a BSc, in maybe physics or chemistry or a related field, um, which was 3 years long. So this is one case. And what options do you have? This is generally what people in India do. Then after that, we have a case where you have done a BS in physics or a related field. So a BS, say, provided by ICERs, which are generally 4-year courses. So if you've done those 4-year BS courses, then what are your options? Then we'll also come to if you've done a BTech, that is engineering. If you're an engineer, then what are your options? Can you do astronomy, or can you just build the observatories? And after that, I think we'll also take the case of master students. That if you've say done a 3 years bachelor's and then 2 years masters in physics or a related field, or maybe a BSMS, that is also a 5 years course in ISOs. So, what are the options in that case? And if you've done a PhD, uh, we don't know what you should go for next. Figure it out yourself. Cool. So, the first case where you have done a bachelor's in physics or related field, and that was a 3 years degree, which is also what Bhavesh and Simran have completed from Ferguson College. So, what are your options in that case when you have a 3 years degree, when you're maybe just going to complete or have already completed the 3 years degree? Um, Simran, over to you.
Okay, so for a bachelor's in with a duration of 3 years, um, there are a lot of options in Europe because they do accept the master's program does accept students who have completed 3 years, and of course you have a lot of options in India as well. And there are a few universities in the US which do accept highly motivated students who have completed a bachelor's, a 3 years bachelor's. But majority of the universities there prefer a 4 years bachelor's. So in India, um, well, the common way to get into um, master's program uh, is through JAM. But again, there are very few master's programs which do have astronomy and astrophysics. Uh, the ones that I know of is Indian Institute of Technology, Indore, and recently, I think last year, Ayuka has also started their master's program in astronomy and astrophysics specifically. So that will be a great program because you'll be taught by amazing scientists who are very active currently. So that is something that is very new. Plus, another option to get into astronomy and astrophysics through Indian institutes is finding out that which institute has research groups that are active in astronomy and astrophysics, irrespective of whether the institute has an astronomy program in it. So, for example, IIT Bombay has STAR Labs or has Dr. Varun Bhalerao and even Dr. Archana Pai, who are very active researchers in astronomy and astrophysics. So, if you get into their MSc physics program, you could work in their groups and I mean, get into active research. Um, and there are institutes like RRI and IIA do your um, where you could do your projects while working while completing your master's program in another institute. So that is one way of getting into astronomy and astrophysics by studying in India. Talking about Europe, so Europe has so most of the institutes in Europe do accept a 3 years bachelor's, and there are very good universities which offer an MSc in astronomy and astrophysics program. So Europe is a very good option if you want to get into a good MSc in astronomy and astrophysics program specifically. Um, there are universities in Italy, in Germany, in Switzerland, in UK as well, which offer such courses. So all these are 2 years courses where mostly 1 year is coursework and the second year is completely dedicated to research, except for the universities in UK which have a 1 year course, and then you have to additionally do research um, as additionally get admitted to do a research, but the course is considered as a 1 year course. So that is in UK. Yeah, and in Germany again, you have a 2 years master's course. Uh, Also, there are institutes like University of Heidelberg where you pursue an MSc physics program, but there are specializations uh, which let you choose all the subjects that are related to astronomy and astrophysics, but also gives you options to um, choose courses from other fields. Like, let's say, if you are interested in computational astronomy and astrophysics, you could uh, choose a combination of courses from astronomy and astrophysics and computational physics. Uh, So yeah, these are the options that are available. Anything to add, Bhavesh?
Yeah, sure. So, uh, coming going back to the India part, I'll say that apart from the IITs, there are also different institutes where you can have a shot. Like for example, Saint Xavier's Mumbai, Pune University, Saint Xavier's Kolkata also, and Saint Xavier's Mumbai's program is specifically based on astrophysics. So in their core course, a topic of astrophysics is going to be there. So for example, there can be stellar physics, which you will be learning in the first semester, and that is quite a new thing which you don't get in the usual MSc physics program here. Usually you have a specialization which you will get in the second year of your masters, but in that program you can start learning the concepts of astrophysics, basic concepts of astrophysics from the very first semester itself. And that also happens in IIT Indore. But yeah, Simran has already covered the IIT part. So again, for Saint Xavier's, there's a different application process. You have to apply, you have to give an interview, and then you will get selected, of course. For Pune University, there is a different what do you say? Their exam is different, entrance exam is different. So India has now, like by this year, like 2022, has a lot of opportunities for people who want to study astronomy and astrophysics, all thanks to the mega projects which will be reality in India, like in a 10-year time or 15 years time. And going back to Germany now, Germany has a wide variety of what do you say programs. But now you will be wondering, like why, where should we apply? Like, should we apply for a master's in physics, or should we apply for a specific field in master's in astrophysics? Uh, just a single one-line answer would be: see how much prepared you are. If you want to go for a theoretical side, I will say master's in physics would be good, and that basically enables lot more options like University of Cologne. For example, University of Cologne only gives masters in physics, but have a brilliant department in computational astrophysics and theoretical astrophysics. So a good research on the university's background, like which type of research is going on there, what do the teachers, or what do their course, like their master's course is going to teach you in the first and second semester. You can analyze, like which universities you should apply to. And similarly, this happens for other universities like in Italy and Switzerland and what is it, Netherlands. There are a whole bunch of universities, really good universities, where you will be taught by the researchers itself, which is kind of unique in India. You are in India majority of the time you won't be able. Your teachers won't be majority of the time an active researcher, but here the difference is huge. An active researcher is going to introduce you to the field, and that's why the you will be more you will get more passionate about studying the field. So that's a very unique quality here. Uh, and let's say if you get into a master's in physics program in India, let's say a normal program, you can still go for astronomy and astrophysics by doing a thesis in astronomy and astrophysics. So you can go for a visiting students research program in IIA or IUCA and RRI, where good astronomy and astrophysics thesis is provided to the students. So you can also aim for that. And similar thing happens in Germany also. You can also go to a masters in physics program and do your thesis in astronomy and astrophysics. That is completely that is completely okay. So a whole bunch of opportunities are there, like after 3 years of degree. And let's say in my case, I had a 1 year kind of a gap. I won't consider it as a gap because I was doing 1 years of research experience, but still, like by educational wise, you can still get, like you can after have after a 1 year also you can get selected to the programs. You can start again. So that gap term, like what you say, mentality is not applicable here. Like, so you can easily apply for the programs after taking a 1 year gap, either for work experience, either for any family issue and all. That is completely okay also. So these are the options. And for masters, you can again a master student can also apply for a master's program in both in India and both in Germany or Europe. So if let's say you did your masters during pandemic time and you're not confident about the concepts you have been taught, you can again apply for the masters here. Of course, you will be on an added advantage that you would be knowing things, you would be familiar with the things. So you can go with a fast pace in the programs here, in the courses here, and can start focusing on your thesis like way earlier than the usual pace. So that would be a great option too. And those who have a master's program, who have done a master's program in India, they can specifically apply for a research master's in UK, as Simran told us that there are different course program and research programs in UK. So you can apply for a research master's there. No need to do the course. You can directly start with the research for 1 year and then apply for PhD programs. And master students can of course apply for the PhD programs in Europe, like either contacting by the professors and getting to know what kind of research positions are available in their faculty. Is it funded or not? What kind of funding you will get? How much teaching hours you have to dedicate for getting the part of the funding and all. And you can also apply from the usual method, like by the application process and getting selected. So yeah, like after 3 years a lot of options are available. And Naman will brief you about the second case. Let's say if you have a engineering degree of 4 years, what would be the opportunities for you? So yeah.
Okay, that was great. Before I think jumping to BTech, I would like to ask you this question that what is the kind of cost that is involved in doing a master's abroad, doing a master's in the Europe, maybe Germany, UK, France, Italy, Netherlands? So what is generally the cost? Which one is the cheapest? Like if you can give some like idea of that.
Per year. Of course, this is with the safety amount which you need here. With that, you can easily survive like 2 years, and that is kind of an amount which German embassy also expect you to take with you when you're coming from India to Germany. So for Germany, that's an average cost, except Munich. In Munich, the cost of living is a little bit higher, so that amount shifts a little also by, I guess, 4 lakhs, maybe 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs. But yeah, it can differ. But it would be, of course, on a higher end because housing is expensive there and living is expensive there. Also, some universities in Germany, for example, universities which are in Baden-Württemberg state. So, for example, my university, University of Heidelberg or University of Stuttgart, they are complied to charge you tuition fees. Uh, so you have to also, if you are coming into these universities, then you have to also take in account for the tuition fees. So apart from the living, you have to also pay the tuition fees, and you have to again escalate your amount. So anywhere it can go about 15 to 25 lakhs for the in general amount. And in Italy is a little bit cheaper. So for 2 years you can get done with 10 to 15 lakhs easily. And Switzerland is expensive. For Switzerland, I guess the cost goes for around 40 lakhs for 2 years. So yeah, it's way expensive. UK is again way expensive, somewhere around 30 to 35 lakhs for a year. That is also very expensive. Netherlands is also 30 to 35 lakhs for 2 years. So it's something like that. So cheaper options are Italy and Germany. And in Italy specifically, University of Padua is really, really good for doing a master's in astronomy and astrophysics. And it's the one of the oldest universities, 800 years old. Even Galileo Galilei himself taught in the university. So it is that much old. So yeah. So these kind of cost estimates you can keep in mind if you are aiming for Europe. Yeah. And of course there are fellowships, sorry, there are fellowship and scholarships like inlex scholarship and other fellowships, so you can also apply for them and you can get your whole master studies funded, completely funded. So yeah, those possibilities are also available for you.
I'd like to add. one more thing, that in estimating the cost for your master's program in Europe, so mostly the fees uh, is usually the fees charged is low as compared to a master's program in UK. Um, so all the countries apart from UK have comparatively lower fees if they are charging any. So the deterministic cost for your cost for your program would be based on the cost that you are spending for your living. So the cost of living is different in different countries, and a knowledge of that would help you determine what will be the total cost that you would require for your master's course. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So this was if you have a 3 years bachelor's degree, or maybe in physics or a related field. So you can stay in India, do a master's, or do another master's if you have one already, or you can stay in India, or you can go to Europe. Uh, so many countries that they listed, and you can just go there and do a master's, maybe in physics with an astronomy specialization, or directly a master's in astronomy and astrophysics. And then you can of course go for a PhD wherever you like. Cool. So now let us come to what if you have a BTech degree? What if you are an engineer and you want to evade this field of astronomy as well, like every other field? So in that case, well, it's not the most ideal route that one should take or one has to take. But what if you're already into engineering and now you get an interest in astronomy? So we'll have to wait a way. So you can stay in India and do a master's in India in physics, but mind you that that will be very difficult because you'll be competing for a master's position with people who have done a bachelor's in physics and you haven't studied physics. Like for most of your course, you didn't. So that will be very competitive. You'll have to give many exams. But if you think you can do good on those, I know a few people who were with me in engineering and have done good in those exams and scored good ranks. So if you think do that too, then I think a master's in physics in India is an option for you as well. So that option remains open. Uh, the second one that Simran and Bhavesh just talked more about was masters in Europe. So if you're an engineer, well, yes, in principle you do have that option as well. But as I mentioned, with the case in India, it will be difficult because again you'll be competing with all those Indians who completed their 3 years bachelor's in physics, and you do not have a physics background. So if you think that maybe by some way you do have a good background, you can show some credits, maybe which you earned externally through another institute, or maybe in your own institute you did some extra courses or some certificate courses, then yes, chances. But if you do not have that physics background, then of course it is worth giving a try. Why not? But it should be difficult. It should generally be difficult because the physics students are preferred. Then what option? The third one, which I am particularly pursuing, is a graduate program in the US. It is a 5 years program, and you can see this as an integrated master's plus PhD course. So for the first 1 or 2 years, you'll be taking courses, and then after that you give this oral exam, which is a very long oral exam, where they drill you basically, and once you pass that exam, uh, you start as a PhD candidate. You officially start as a PhD candidate. So, and then your PhD will depend on you. It will either last 3 years, 4 years, max to max 5 years. Beyond that, I think they'll just remove you from the university. Uh, so this is generally a 5 years course or a 6 years course after your bachelor's, and you can apply for this. This is completely funded from the first day you arrive in the US. That is, your tuition fee will be taken care of, and you'll be provided with a stipend to cover your living expenses. the stipend is generally on an average around $2,000 per month. And it will vary, of course, depending on which city or which state you are in and how expensive that place is. So this is a graduate program, but one issue is since it is completely funded, that too for 5 years, funding itself becomes a problem because now since the university has to fund you, they will have to intake less students. So the average number of students that are inducted in a year at a particular university is eight students, and the ratio between American and international students is 75-25. So from eight, six students will be American, and 2 to 3 students will be international. So when I say international, that includes Canada, that includes all the European countries, that includes China, and that includes India, and of course all others. But these are the major players. So the admissions are really tough, really really tough, uh, but worth giving a shot because once you're in, you're sorted for like at least 5 or 6 years, or at least your PhD. Then you just have to. The next thing you'll have to worry about is a postdoc. So this is one thing, but there is also another program. So most of these universities say, I got a comment in the chat that can you name some universities? So yeah, Harvard University, Caltech, University of California, Berkeley, Princeton, UCLA, University of Massachusetts, Amherst, Boston University, Rice University, University of Florida, University of Rochester, University of Arizona, University of Hawaii. So there are a number of these universities which are great in astronomy in one or the other way, or in one or the other subfield. But most of these offer this graduate program and not a master's program. But there are some other universities that you can apply to which do give a 2 years master's program. That will of course cost you somewhere around 60 to 70 lakhs for 2 years, because that is what is generally the cost for masters in the. But you can get some scholarship and maybe cut it down to 40, 50, or if you're too good, you can cut it down to as low as you can. So, but of course, there is a cost involved, and the competition will be relatively less because the best of the best would be applying for graduate programs because they already have a bachelor's in astronomy, so they do not want to spend or shell out more money doing this. They'll directly go for the graduate program. They'll directly go for many of them will be rejected. Many of them will be rejected. Many tons of them will be rejected. And but in any case, the competition for a masters, and also because masters will have a higher intake. The intake of masters program generally is 50, 60 students. Of course, it can vary, but that should be the number. So these are also the options available in the US if you have a 4 year degree. So the reason why the 3 year degree do not have this option is uh, because the US doesn't allow you to study a master's without having a 4 years bachelor's degree. So they do not consider the 3 years degree as a bachelor's degree in a way, according to their rules or whatever. So this is one of the major options that you have if you are an engineer. Build your base, build your profile, and apply to the US. Or if you have some relevant physics education, or in general, if you have some relevant physics courses, or you can take up some courses maybe for 1 year at a college like Ferguson or a good university or good college, then you can of course also apply to the Europe and to India as well. So this is what your options are if you have a engineering degree. So the next case I think would be if you have a bachelor's in physics or a related field, and that degree is for 4 years. So a BS is what it is called, I guess, and it's famously provided by ICERS. So this is, I think, the most ideal case you would want to have in your life or in your career, because here now you can apply to the Europe, you can apply to India, and you can also apply to the US. So and you'll have strong chances in every country basically, because you have a 4 year degree, it was focused on physics, and if you have some relevant astronomy background or research experience or something like that, then bang on, you are the ideal case, I'll say. So you can apply either to US or to Europe or to India, depending on where you want to be. Of course, you would want to maybe apply to the US first because there's no cost involved in that case. If you do a master's in Europe, you do have to pay something, and even in India, you do have to pay something. But uh, but if you do not have a problem with paying that sum, and you desperately want to go to the Europe, if you have maybe some professor or some research particular is going in Europe better than in US, then of course you'll go to the Europe as well. Uh, Simran, Bhavesh, would like to add about particularly about this BS course.
I think, as I said, PS would be the best option one can have because you will have sound foundations for the problems which you are going to deal here. Like, let's say if you want to deal with the hydrostatic equilibrium stability of a star, so you won't have a tough time understanding those basic equations. Whereas, like as Naman said, like coming with a BTech background can have a little difficulty because of all the physics stuff you would have left out in those years. Also, I would say 4 year bachelor is great, but you have to ensure that in that 4 years masters you should have at least 6 months of research experience, either in the form of thesis, either in the form of project, or either in the form of internship. Doesn't matter, but you should have that because that would be something which the universities would be expecting from you. Even a basic experience would tell them that yeah, you are ready for initiating the research phase, like in their universities. And yes, 4 year bachelor's people would have the best chance for US. But again, for US, I think I guess more than 1 year of research experience is necessary because the competition is higher. Everyone who will be applying for a PhD graduate program would have like something like that. Would have a year-long research experience, have good foundation for the specific field they are pursuing. So, yeah. And yes, your a 4 year bachelor student have their what do you say masters also a little bit on fast track, like in Germany, because they would have been accommodated by all the physics concepts they would require here to successfully tackle the course, like advanced course here. So yeah, so that would be the best option. So you can do that also. Even you can also have a 3 year bachelor's. You can do a 1 year master's and then can apply for master's degree for example, in Europe, or in some cases for a PhD or a graduate program uh, in US also. So that is a what is it? That is a great uh, alternative for a 4 year bachelor's. So yeah.
Simran, if you would like to add something.
No, yeah, I think Bhavesh covered everything. Yeah, the highlighting point is the research experience uh, needed, and yeah, I think for BS degree, BS BS degree is the most ideal degree because you are doing physics and you're doing it for 4 years. That is what is needed everywhere. So yeah, I think you guys summed it up.
Perfect. So let's get to the case where someone did a master in physics or relevant or a related field. So whatever the bachelor's be it a 3 years bachelor BSc or a 4 years BS or a BTech. So once a person has completed a master's in physics or a related field, then what are the options for them? So I think all the options open up. Is that right? That person can do a PhD from India. The person can do another master's from Europe if the person wants, of course. If not, the person can also do a PhD from the Europe, anywhere in the Europe, UK, Germany, and all these countries that you mentioned. And that person can also apply to the US, not direct for the PhD, but of course for the graduate program that I just talked about, the US program. Everyone has to apply for that, and if you have uh, done some courses that are included in their syllabus, so you can skip those and cut it short to maybe 4 years, but not shorter than that. Uh, I don't think there's
Also,
okay.
yeah, one thing I forgot actually, I would like to add. Like in Europe, majority of the courses demand that you should have at least one basic course in astronomy. Like even in Heidelberg, for us to sit in the stellar astrophysics course and other courses, we have to what do you say have some basic background in astronomy. And so some institutes give introductory course in astronomy and astrophysics. For example, like one I'm currently taking in Heidelberg, which would enable me for advanced courses in astronomy and astrophysics in here. But that is the case which is Heidelberg is providing me. This is not a case like in every university. So that is the one thing which I actually forgot. So yeah, you should at least you should have some basic foundation, either in terms of what do you say course as a what do you say course in your bachelor's, like in one of the semester, like a specialization in one of the semester, or I guess if you do a good amount of virtual courses like from edX or Coursera and all, I guess that would count also. Not that much, but as a proper course in astronomy in your bachelor's, but yeah, it would count for something. So yeah, that is one thing which like you should keep in mind. Even if you have a 4 year bachelor's and 4 year bachelor's in science, 3 year bachelor's in science, or even a BTech in engineering physics or BTech in other areas which are physics oriented, astronomy is a little bit required here. So yeah, sorry, no one continue.
Yeah. So after a master's, if you do not really want to do a PhD, if you do not want to enter this thing, and you've done a master's in say astronomy, particularly from the Europe or India where you were working in astronomy, then you can also apply for data science jobs. This is one field that most of the astronomers who have quit astronomy go to. I've seen many astronomers who are doing this astronomy courses, or even completed a PhD, even worked after that for a few years in astronomy, and then shifted to a data science company or a data science job. If you're not really liking, what be the reason? Like if you're not liking astronomy or the culture or the workplace or whatever. So if you want to jump to the industry, so yeah, data science jobs are an option for you. And of course, after a PhD, there are many more options that you get. You can go work on telescopes and things like that. So this was mostly it about what options do you have, considering where which class do you categorize in. So other than that, I think most of the universities, when you're applying to them, you'll need a letter of recommendations. You will also need to write a statement of purpose. It may be called a personal statement, but those are similar things. You may that as well. You'll need a CV slash resume, and just I think that is except basic info. That's it. Uh, okay. So shall we jump to the questions already? Cool.
Yeah, yeah,
So
let's.
Nitish will having 3 4 year gap in my education due to some personal problems frowned upon when I seek admission for my masters. Well, if you can justify your uh, gap, then I don't think that should be a big problem. I personally have a 1 year gap, so I graduated last year. I'll be starting my further studies, that is a PhD, this year in fall, published. So this is a proper 1 year gap, and I took it deliberately. I honestly do not even have a reason to justify it. I just didn't want to study for a year. So I, I think it would be much easier for you to explain in your case if you actually have a problem, or have a genuine reason if you wanted to support your family financially by working for a job and then get to your studies again. So if you till the point you can justify it nicely, rightly, and rightfully, so that shouldn't be a problem. Of course, it will be a little frowned upon, but it depends on you how you cover it and how you explain it. Uh, what about a person from mathematics background, Bhavesh?
Yeah. So I personally have a friend who actually came for studying physics in Ferguson, and he liked mathematics so much he shifted to mathematics. But now, like after like his masters in mathematics, he will be doing theoretical astrophysics or theoretical cosmology. So you can completely do that. Mathematics is the language of everything. Majority of the physics which we deal here, like the theoretical portion, deals with a lot of good amount of mathematics. For example, for GR, like here we have a special course like where they teach mathematics for GR specifically. So he is a person in mathematics would excel in the theoretical astrophysics or in theoretical cosmology in general relativity, and you can also apply for astronomy and data science course in Leiden University with a BSc in mathematics because of mathematics you will have a sound foundation for doing the data analysis such as multivariate simulations and all. So you can also do that, and that field is rapidly emerging, increasing because of all the major projects which include data. So big data is going to be the future now. So yeah, you can easily come to astronomy and astrophysics with your specialty as mathematics. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add one thing that so whichever course that is related to physics or that is related to astronomy and astrophysics, in whatever you do, the most important thing to is do a research in order to stay connected to the field. Uh, I mean, I have a lot of friends, and Naman is a big example of doing mechanical engineering. Or I have a friend who's done materials, who's done engineering and materials, but uh, has done an excellent research in his undergraduate degree, and did get into a PhD program in uh, I think yeah in the US. I think University of Texas. So yeah, that is there. So whichever field that you are currently pursuing, be it CS or any kind of engineering, make sure that you are connected to astronomy and astrophysics via research. And I think that is very important. I think Naman will be the right person to elaborate more on it. But yes, I have had friends who've done this before and are doing an excellent job in astronomy and astrophysics right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, about that, I think the philosophy is very simple. That you do not have an edge over the BSc or BS Physics students academically. So the only other edge that you can actually have over them is by research. So just that edge, and maybe it works. Can one who has pursued BTech in CS engineering go into an aerospace field or maybe in astronomy? Well, not sure about aerospace, but yeah, if you have done computer science engineering and want to enter astronomy, yeah, that is possible. And it is better to do a computer science engineering than mechanical engineering to become an astronomer. So, in today's date, we know that astronomy involves a lot of data science. It involves a huge amount of data science, and it also involves data engineering. So, whereas big data, you need computer science people to handle that. So, that should be a good way in. But of course, you will need, if you want to just code and do the job that you do as an engineer, then I don't think your uh, background in astronomy matters so much, because then you'll just go there and learn an application. You already know what you want to do. But if you're from CA, computer science engineering, and you want to do astronomy, you want to become an astronomer, you want to do research, then it should be equally difficult for you, but maybe a little less than a mechanical engineer, but it should be equally difficult uh, as far as, because you're an engineer, you don't know physics. So, uh,
Yeah. Also, if you are a CS engineer, I personally know a really good friend who was from BTech CS and was my one of the batchmate in radio astronomy winter school, and she was like fabulous in astronomy. And the basic reason was because she used to study physics like regularly along with her CS course. So if you have done that, and if you can show through winter schools, show through online courses, show through other, your research experience that you can do astronomy with a good physics background, then yes, you can come to astronomy. And I guess in this scenario, a GRE for you specifically, a GRE would be helpful because GRE will show that you are good in physics also. So you can deal the basic physics which you will require for a PhD and let's say for a master's in Germany or Europe, I guess. And for aerospace, I would say that if you really want to go to aerospace, apply for a degree like a master's in aerospace. That you will get into it easily. But yes, that would be better uh, for you to do. And from there only you can work in NASA. But I would just give you this disclaimer that in NASA or SpaceX or any other private companies outside India, which are related to space tech, for them you need a citizenship because for working there you need a military clearance, which are only given to citizens of that country. So if you're aiming for that kind of job, either if you are a CS person and want to work on rovers, like which are kind of on Mars or Juno spacecraft, which is getting Twitter right now. If you want to even work there, you need a citizenship because those every part of that field comes under military clearance. So a better path would be go for PhD in US after your PhD, apply for a green card, wait for 5 years, do a job for 5 years, do a postdoc for 5 years, and after 5 years, get the citizenship. That would be the path. But yeah, it would be difficult, not because of the studies, but because of the bureaucracy which it introduces. And this also applies for ESA, European Space Agency, Canadian Space Agency, every space agency which is here. And ISRO is also there if you really want to apply and want to work in a space tech company. So yeah, ISRO is also there.
Okay.
So yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Ashish, we just move to the next question. Ashish is an engineer. 1 year of observational astronomy experience, 4 years of industrial experience in astronomical instrumentation. I of course know Ashish. And he's willing to apply for a PhD program in the US. So are there any good chances of should try something else? As long as you're trying to get into a program and do your PhD in instrumentation, that is astronomy instrumentation. Maybe you want to work on some space telescope like JWST. Of course, can't touch it now. But, if you want to work on some further space telescope or you want to work on some ground telescope, particularly instrumentation, then I think you would be the most ideal candidate in a way because you're an engineer and then you have such huge experience in instrumentation already, that too astronomical instrumentation. So I think you're the ideal candidate for that part. But if you want to apply for astronomy research, become an astronomer, like the way we do it. So if you want to do that, then of course it will be a little difficult for you, but uh, you'll consider it as an engineer. I don't think it will be any difficult. So that should be difficult. But if you want to go for instrumentation, if you want to continue doing that, then you should be an ideal candidate. Uh, how to apply for PhD in University of Heidelberg or Max Planck Institute? IETS and GI scores required in these universities. I think Bhavesh, did you already answer that?
No, so for Heidelberg, there is a different application process. You have to apply with your master thesis and your SOP and your letter of recommendation. And for Max Planck, there is a specific application cycle, which is known as IMBRS, International Max Planck School for Research, IMBRS, Research School, yeah. So basically that. So its application opens once a year. Once a year, check the eligibility criteria, check what they require. Do they require your thesis submission? Do they require your LORs and how many LORs? And that's the basic criteria. Now, some colleges ask for GRE and IELTS specifically. Some colleges doesn't. If you are not sure, you can just directly email the college and give them a background that you have that background, and so would they require scores? But I would say be prepared. Like ask all these questions like 4 or 5 months earlier than the application deadline because you would require time for getting prepared for those tests also, and then appear for this, and those test results come to you also. That requires a lot of time. So yeah, you
Okay,
can just easily ask the college.
cool. Similar next one's for you. How to apply for research labs like STAR Labs, Ayuka after 3 year BS physics degree?
Okay, so the first way that everyone does um, it is emailing them. So emailing the professors under whom you would like to work. Uh, and well, the way I got into Star Labs was I was already working with IIT Bombay on a summer project, and my mentor over there was a student under Dr. Varun Malia. So he recommended to Dr. Varun Malia, and then I got interviewed for the position, which was luckily vacant at the time, and got in. So yes, the first step doing that is emailing the professor under whom you would like to work, and for emailing, be sure that you have read something about the professor that you want to work under, and your email looks very genuine. It is concise, and yes, I think emailing is the first step that you like to do. And also, okay, and
Yeah.
also to get into internships, there are forms open for various institutes. Every IIT and every ISR has summer programs where you could apply to. Yeah, and I think every bachelor student who's interested in astronomy and astrophysics or even physics should apply to such internships because these opportunities are available. And yeah, that is also another way to get into
Right.
these institutes.
The process to apply for winter school in astronomy. I think the process is fairly simple. They have application forms. Just fill those in, give them the required documents, required information, and wait for the results. Uh, could you give some tips on getting internships? If people here have internship experience, then yeah, please go ahead. I do not. I applied to many internships. I was rejected from almost all of them. Some due to COVID
Uh,
19.
yeah, let's deal this question in the personal session. So that would be better because
Cool. Yeah.
tips require background of the person who wants to apply.
Right.
So we would be guide you better if we know the background of the person who wants to apply, either for the internships in schools in India or either in Europe. So yeah, that let's we can deal this in the person session. So yeah.
Is English proficiency test score mandatory for PhD admission in US and Europe after MS Physics? Not for all the universities, but yeah, for most of the universities, English proficiency test would be a thing. For Europe, maybe not. I actually, for even for Europe, you'll have to give IELTS, but that too will vary. So it will really depend on which universities you want to apply to. Just make a list of those universities and then figure out if any of those universities require you to provide this test course. Because I had IELTS to apply to the US, and I applied to many universities, more than 15 universities, but only 5 of them actually required my IELTS score. Other, I have a bachelor's degree, which was completed in English, and particularly University of Arizona doesn't even ask English requirement to Indians, which makes sense. Uh, is GRE required in Germany for masters? No.
Also,
Bhavesh,
wait, GRE is required in 2 or 3 colleges now
okay.
because to earlier it wasn't, but now they have introduced this, and because just to expand the diversity of applicants. So with the GRE, even a BTech person can apply. Earlier that wasn't the case. Earlier they weren't open to accept students from BTech background because you wouldn't have solved QFT equations and all, which you would be tackling in the master's program. So yeah.
So now we would like to conclude the session. I know there were some audio glitches, but we have tried to write down and cover as much in the slides that we have added. But irrespective of that, if any one of you has any kind of doubts in the video, feel free to comment down. And please do like and share and subscribe to our channel, because we would be updating our channel with our journeys of pursuing astronomy and astrophysics as master and PhD students from 2 different parts of the world. And I'm sure there would be something that would help you uh, in pursuing your dream as well. And yes, we would like to help you in any way possible. So please do reach out to us if you all have any questions on our website, and do check our website. We have a lot of resources uploaded on the website, and we would be updating it whenever we find something new and interesting that might help everyone. So yeah, see you soon in the next video.